Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife video for you. Today we're going to talk about my favorite fifth pocket knives, or coin pocket, or change pocket, or watch pocket, whatever you call it. You know, this one. This one that we all have on our jeans and lots of other pants. I usually use it for a secondary knife. It's just kind of what I always use it for. I don't carry a pocket watch, and it's really hard to get change out of there because I have no manual dexterity. So usually I have a little knife in there. We're not going to be talking about ones like this. These are all obvious choices for that, but I did want to bring them out because obviously a really good knife to put in that spot is, you know, like a Swiss Army knife. This is a classic, and a cadet. That's always a really good choice. You have your traditionals, of course. You know, this happens to be a case and a Rough Rider. But, you know, these are always really good. They always fit in those well. This one maybe not so much, but, you know, a nice small traditional. You can get, these are fairly, this is very inexpensive. This is somewhat inexpensive. Yeah, or you can spend a whole lot of money on, you know, a GEC or something like that. And a lot of people do that. It's not something that I usually collect, but I know a whole lot of you guys do. Also, slightly more modern, smaller little slip joints. This happens to be a Spyderco Grasshopper and a Rhodey. I like these a lot, especially the Rhodey. I do carry a whole lot. And, you know, I'm weird. Sometimes I'll have something kind of old-timey. I like peasant knives, and when I travel, I usually, especially in Europe, every country has their own sort of little, you know, peasant knife. This happens to be a Portuguese one. I bought it in a touristy area. That's why it says Alfama on it. But yeah, it's just kind of cool, little bit of history and stuff in your pocket. And they're still pretty good knives, very slicey and all that. Just, you know, friction folder in this one. Also, something that I like a lot, and I'm a big proponent of to keep miles off your more expensive knives, are things like this. This is a Giltech Ruck. It's just a little retractable utility blade. You can't quite call them full-on knives, but they are nice to have in that little fifth pocket. You just got to open a box or something you don't want to put anywhere, or get your nice knife, your nice main knife, you know, get gunk and stuff all over the blade. These things are really great to have around all the time, and also fairly inexpensive. And this is a new one, actually, in the same kind of vein. I actually just got this. This is from Silent Thunder Ordnance, Slicey Dicey. It's called the Scalpel Dashi. It's pretty neat. It's got a little surgical blade on it. Came with a replace. I'll be doing a full review of this. I got it in two sizes. I have the smaller one out here. It has an optional pocket clip. It's pretty cool. You'll see more about that later. But let's get into the main knives here. So I've got 15, which I know is a lot, but I did split it into kind of two categories. So again, we're just talking about stuff that fits in that fifth pocket. And the first 5 are going to be ones that will fit in this fifth pocket very well, but also are perfectly fine just to use as a primary knife. So they're a bit on the larger side for the fifth pocket, but they do fit. They work well. These are Wranglers, by the way, just your standard Wrangler jeans. Pretty average size fifth pocket. Your mileage may vary on these. The latter ones, the top 10 of the actual ones I know are going to fit in almost everybody's fifth pockets, maybe even ladies. These first 5 may or may not, but in these they fit fine. In every pair of jeans that I have, they fit fine. So let's get going. First of all, I would say, and I have a whole lot of knives laid out in a tray on my lap here, so I apologize if it takes me a minute to find some of them. I have 2 examples because either one is a good choice. Would be the Spyderco Chaparral. Now this happens to be the standard, you know, carbon fiber laminate version, and this is the lightweight. You're looking at a price of $95 for the lightweight, $140 for the standard. There are a million other versions that cost a lot more, but it is a really great blade. I just like how thin and slicey it is. Fits all 4 fingers with that forward finger choil just perfectly, absolutely fine. And it also does fit in the fifth pocket. Again, may not fit everybody's fifth pocket, but I think you're going to find it fits in the vast majority thereof. It sits in there really well. And this pocket clip, too, doesn't stick out a lot. That's something we're going to talk about a lot. Some of these knives, you want to make sure the pocket clip isn't scratching your hand and stuff, too, because you are going to be reaching past that pocket clip. So keep that in mind. You're going to be interacting with that pocket clip more than you are other knives. We're just going to leave the old Wranglers out for the rest of this. And now, next up, we have, I have mentioned this before. I had it in a little battle to the death. I've not done a full review on it. Not sure if I will. Probably should, because I do like it a lot. This is the Benchmade Valet. I think this is one of their most underrated knives. $174. Not inexpensive, but you're an M390 for that price. Really nicely done G10. Excellent deep carry pocket clip. Has all that Benchmade fiddly goodness. Sometimes it is nice. We'll be talking about this as we go on. If your main knife is like a big burly knife, it's fun if your little secondary one is a bit fiddly, if it's got some fidget factor to it. This definitely does. I just really love the Valet. I think it is a great knife and the most underrated thing that Benchmade makes. And again, very fifth pocket friendly. I often carry it just because they kind of match. This is another thing about fifth pocket knives. Sometimes it's nice if they match. I often carry it alongside my gray G10 20CV Griptilian because they kind of match and they're both the same brand. And I'm weird. I like to do weird stuff like that. Put those aside. What is up next? Oh, this is another one that's definitely in that fun fidgety factor. The Civivi McKenna. Front flipper, excellently done. Front flipper, really cool looking Elijah Isham design. This happens to be the Damascus version. These are 89 bucks. The regular version with D2 is 68 bucks. But they're just a lot of fun. Really easy front flipper to use. If you're front flipper curious, they are great. They are a whole lot of fun. And this is not a horribly expensive one. And again, works great in that fifth pocket. This is probably the longest of all of them. So if any of them aren't going to fit, it's going to be this one. But it does fit pretty well. Now, next up is another one I think you could use as a primary. This is a fairly new model. The Mini Archbishop. This one was 95 bucks because it's the carbon fiber one that you get direct from Ferrum Forge. There are G10 versions that are less expensive. Getting a 9CR18 MOV steel, which I really like that steel a lot. Made by We. Just beautifully done knife. And again, why I say you can use it as a primary is you can get all four fingers on it if you use that forward choil, and they definitely intend for you to do that. And it works awesome. It doesn't feel like a small knife. It feels great in the hand. You're not making any compromises as far as that goes, and fits very well in that kind of fifth pocket, as one can see. And next up, I will say this is kind of a bit of a unique one. If you're in an automatic world, yeah, there's a good choice for that. The ProTech SBR, probably one of my favorite autos, out the side auto, and it's definitely perfectly fine for a primary knife. It is a beefy knife. It's definitely overbuilt. It ain't going anywhere. And for a ProTech, not that bad. 170 to 200, depending on the options. This is one of the more base ones. And I really, really like the SBR a whole lot. Nice deep carry clip, something you're going to see very commonly in all of these. And again, fits very well in that fifth pocket. Awesome knife. Highly recommend the SBR. Not the only auto you're going to see on here. We also have a little bit of a smaller one. So now that moves us on to our actual, what I would consider real, true fifth pocket knives. This first one you could still use as a primary. I know a lot of people are going to, but it's not quite in the same category. I put the Valet. I've had two Benchmades on here, so I kind of put one in the primary fifth pocket knife and one as a secondary. I would say the Mini Bug Out, again, this is totally fine to use as a primary knife. All of these can be used as a primary knife if you want to, but I really like the Mini Bug Out. Yes, this is different. I know I'm going to questions down below. I did finally dye it. The only thing I hate about the Mini Bug Out is the colors. This was the Stormtrooper variant with the white scales and the black blade. Now it is a Sith Trooper variant. I used some red dye more and changed the scale colors. Other than that, fits in the fifth pocket really well. And again, I like to match stuff. So if I'm carrying a Benchmade as a primary, it's not uncommon that I'll have the Mini Bug Out. I just got it, but I know it's going to be in that roll a whole lot. In that just kind of fifth pocket backup knife kind of thing. Really like the Mini Bug Out. Don't like the price. You're looking at $119 for the orange with the satin, or it was $136 for this Stormtrooper one that, again, I died. But a bit overpriced, but really good knife. Okay, next up, I'm going to save the best one for last. I am not going to cop out. I am going to pick a best one, my absolute personal favorite. So more in the budget realm. This was like the hottest knife in the world like last year or the year before. This is the CRKT Pilar. This is the bog standard full stainless steel version. A bit heavy. It is only about 30 to 55 bucks. They have a copper one now that's 55. Downside is 8CR13 MOV steel. Upside is excellent ergonomics. Just excellent. It is very, very good. Jasper Voxnay's design, I always call my hand twin because everything he designs fits my hands perfectly, and this is no exception. Again, a bit heavy, but still goes in that fifth pocket really, really well. A little bit sticking up, but you know, usually I have a shirt hang down over that or something. That doesn't bother me. I'd like to have a deep carry if possible, but as long as it's something that's, you know, not bright and ridiculous here, it doesn't bother me a whole lot. But yeah, deep carry if possible is nice, so I guess I can call that a downside too, but it doesn't really bother me much with the Pilar. Next up we have, this is kind of the ubiquitous Spyderco for this position, the Dragonfly. They've been making them forever. This happens to be the Wharncliffe version. That's my favorite, but your mileage may vary there. I like the Wharncliffe because, again, for a kind of backup knife and you're just opening packages and stuff with it, Warnies are awesome for that. It's light as a feather, $66.50, again, in that kind of maybe a bit overpriced sort of category, but I say that about all the Japanese VG10 plastic handle Spydercos. A little bit sticking out, but again, especially if you can get you can get the Dragonfly some really crazy colors. You might not want to do that because there's going to be a bit sticking out if you're trying to be discreet. But in the black, it doesn't bother me too much. Next up, this is one also included because it does definitely have a fun factor to it. And is just a really cool knife. And one that I have and I just don't show on the channel that much. This is the Kaiser Mini Sheepdog. This is like the third one of these I've had. The first one I just got it because I had a review. It was a color combo I didn't like. Then I got the color combo I wanted, and now they upgraded the steel to 154 cm, which is an awesome steel. So this is the base one for 69 bucks. You can get a full titanium with S35 VN for 169, or for 299 you can get a full titanium with a crazy Damascus blade and all that if you want to go completely nuts. But they're all exactly the same size and form factor. Can't quite get all four fingers on it, but it's not bad. But the action on them, it's just so much fun, and it's a little big cleaver. I like little big knives. You're going to see a few little big knives on this. The Pilar, you could qualify as that. It's just fun. It definitely has a fidget factor. It did make my all-time best fidget factor video I did a while ago. I'm going to have to update that because there are some new knives that have come out since then. But a really, really cool knife. And for especially the $69 version, the Vanguard, I just really like it. Are they even saying Vanguard anymore? I'm not sure. But yeah, really cool knife. And again, I will demonstrate on all these how well they fit. Just that little bit sticking out, not a big deal. It does definitely, if for some reason you want to put two things in that pocket, I don't think many people do. It definitely does take up most of it. But, okay. Next up, a bit more in the higher end range for sure. I'm going to do both of these together. So this is two counting as one. The Three Rivers Manufacturing Nerd and the Atlas. The Nerd is the newer one. You're looking at 179 to 209. I will say that for me, for a fifth pocket knife, I'm not saying this is the best one, obviously, because it's not the one that's going last, but it's probably the finest one that you can get, if that makes any sense. Now, this is the $209 carbon fiber version, and it is freaking gorgeous. You can deploy it with the logo, which is pretty cool. You can even Spidey flick it. If I can do it on camera, you can. Gotta get a little bit of wrist, but you can definitely do it. It's a very fun, kind of fidgety knife. It's just a liner lock, and it's not on bearing, so it doesn't drop crazy smooth or anything, but it's still a bit fidgety, and it is just freaking pretty, undeniably so. And again, you know, fits extremely well. The reason why I also included the Atlas is because I think I mentioned already in this video, I do travel a fair bit, especially to Europe, theoretically, if we're ever allowed to again. And the Atlas is a very similarly sized knife from the same company, $159, so a little bit cheaper, and it's a slip joint, which is a very nice thing to have, you know, when you're overseas. One hand open, but it is a slip joint, so it's still legal in a whole lot of places, and I just really, really like the Atlas a whole lot. I own them both, but because of my travel situations, if I could only keep one, it would be the Atlas because it's legal. I mean, when I travel, this is usually the only knife I take with me because I know I'm probably not going to get in trouble with it. So that's always a nice thing to know. Now, next up, we're going way back down the price scale here. Not as low as we'll go, but close to it. This is one that, again, I've had for a while, and I don't carry it much, and I should talk about it more because I was really impressed with it. This is a Black Fox Bean. This is the wood version. That's about 40 bucks. There's 45 bucks for the all steel version. But it's another slip joint, very small knife, but it's not the best ergonomics in the world, but it isn't bad. and it's just a lot of fun to carry. Pretty thick blade, but I just really like the action on it for a slip joint. It's pretty fidgety as I'm failing to close it there. There we go. It's just, I like the one hand open. It's got that kind of, you know, double detent sort of slip joint. It is a Serge Pachenko design, and I hope I'm saying that name right or remembering it right. And fair bit sticks out. That's the downside to it. I really do like it, but a fair bit sticks out. I honestly run this without the pocket clip a lot, but like I said, I'm trying to include knives like with the pocket clip. I actually had to go find the pocket clip for this before I did the video. But really cool little knife. I do really like. I just like the look of it. I just like the look at the bean, and I like Serge's designs. So, now next up, maybe you want a little auto. Kershaw makes several small autos in their California legal line that are definitely really good fifth pocket autos. My favorite is the Launch 9. I just really like the look of it. The ergos aren't great with the pocket clip, but it's so snappy. I mean, it bangs just as hard as that ProTech you saw earlier. It really does. It's crazy. I like the blade shape. And again, goes in the fifth pocket really well. The only problem it has with the ergos are the same problem it has with the carry, and I mentioned this in the full review. That ramp is a bit sharp, so your hand does go by that. That's a bit annoying. If I was allowed to carry an auto more often than I am, I would probably bend that ramp down a bit. It's just a bit excessive. Now, next up, we have something kind of unique, and I know I haven't shown this on the channel before, but I've had it for a while. This is the Bastian Braza Mini Bro. This is on the verge of being too small to even call a fifth pocket knife. This is on the verge of just being a keychain knife. But D2 steel, you know, stainless steel frame lock. It runs on bearings, and it's just smooth as can be and snappy as all get out. It's just like a little bitty, big beefy knife, and I really enjoy it. I just like the action on it. I love the blade shape. It is definitely a 3-finger max knife. It's like a 2.7 finger knife, but it works well. Does have a little pocket clip on it. I like the little bit of pocket clip, even if it is kind of a pain, just because it's not going to drop all the way down in my pocket and I have to dig it out. That's why I don't carry like my a Victorinox Classic in this pocket very much, because when I need it, I kind of have to reach in there with 2 fingers and dig it out, and the aforementioned lack of manual dexterity. So now we're going to go way down the budget line, and then we will bring out what I think is my favorite. We have, for 22 bucks, the ABKT Grunt American Buffalo Knife and Tool, 8CR 13mm steel. Nothing horribly impressive, but it is on bearings. It's a lot of fun to play with. It has great action, awesome detent, super comfortable in the hand. It's a 3-finger knife again, but super comfortable in the hand. Nice place for your finger to land. It's just a great knife. Nice hollow grind, very, very slicey for how thick this blade is. Again, it's kind of one of those little big knives. And goes in and out. The G10's really nice on it. And 22 bucks. It's very inexpensive. Highly recommend the Grunt. I've given away a few. I've recommended them to several people. Really cool knife. 22 bucks. Now, this brings us to our final. What do I think is the best fifth pocket knife? Obviously, this video is just all knives that I own. I will do one exception at the end. There's one that I don't own that would be on the list. I'll save that till right at the end. But the one that I like the most in my fifth pocket, and the one that winds up in that pocket the most, is the Spyderco Little Native. I like it so much that I had one and I sold it and I went and bought another one because I missed it. It's just great. The ergos are awesome. It's designed to be choked up on when you can. You get all 4 fingers very securely. You don't have much blade sticking out, but you got all 4 fingers. You have a compression lock to fiddle with, and one that works very well too when you're not on a camera and you're not hitting your own damn finger. It's just a really, really fun knife. You can do all the Spidey things that you want. It's just a blast. It's just a really fun little knife. And again, you know, it carries well. I have to show it. But 126 bucks for this version. I think the serrated one, or the coated ones are like 140. And then, yeah, you can also get a serrated version as well. But I would say this is my favorite fifth pocket knife. And it's not even really that close. The TRM Nerd, I guess, is the closest, but again, it was $209, and this is just a bit more fun. Better steel and everything on the Nerd, but better materials. It's worth the money probably, but I just don't need $209 in my fifth pocket. So I'm going to go with this. Not that it's an inexpensive option, but it's less inexpensive. I like the little native the best. I will say the one that I don't have is the Cold Steel Tough Light. I know everybody talks about the Tough Light. I know I'm going to hear about it, and I just don't have one at the moment. And I'm stupid because I just did order some stuff from Cold Steel, and I forgot to add one of those on there. They're very inexpensive. They're very cool as well. Kind of that Pilar-ish sort of size Warren Cliffy blade. They're awesome too. Go check one of those out. But I just don't have one at the moment, so sorry about that. But it still wouldn't have gotten my favorite. It would still be the little native. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Found it somewhat informative on a day when probably a lot of us are trapped in our houses. So hope you guys enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.